What's up?
What's up? Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody. It's been a minute. We're back.
Yeah.
We try to give you guys regular weekly distribution of content for the past 2 months. I think we succeeded for most of that.
Yeah, and
Maybe the
then
last 2 weeks of 2022, we didn't happen. Stuff happens.
you know what? And I'll take ownership of that. It was hard for me to get because our schedules are so different, and then I have the
Sure.
boys, and then family. So then I got so here's a lowdown of what happened. Evan got a flu shot, but he was already kind of under the weather. He got under the weather. Then it took us all out.
Hmm.
Then after we got better, family came into town. Then family got sick. Then we got sick again, and we're all finally coming out of it. So it was kind of
Hmm.
like this never ending. We hit 30 seconds yet?
I mean, technically, we've been on for like 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
It was basically a tidal wave of a shitstorm. This kept go like whenever we would make it out of something, something else would happen. So
Sure.
part of a lot of it, I'll say I'll take 70% of the blame for us not having stuff up because I was like I'd get off work and I'd just be like, hey man, I ain't got it in me.
Hey, the good thing about our fans is they are small, but they are mighty, right? So we don't have a huge fan base, but the fans that we do have understand that we got other stuff
Yeah,
going on, so they're cool.
yeah. So
Ken from
we're
Chicago says, "Kids spam virus magnets."
yeah, and this is the funny thing. So I took Evan to go get the flu shot and go get his last COVID shot. That first day he was done. Like I felt like it hit me hard. And then
Hmm.
after that, he was good. He just had sniffles, he had a cough. Then Katie got sick. She got a sinus. So then I got sick. Katie got sick. She had a sinus infection. I just had a cold. And that Friday, before my in-laws came, I don't know how I got my kids from my house to my parents' house.
Hmm.
Like it was just a blur. And then that Friday
Sure.
I was at work, they sent me home. They was like, hey man, we got this. And then the next week, Monday and Tuesday, I rallied. And then that Wednesday, I went to go pick up my in-laws from the airport. And Tony Santaye, friend of the show,
Hmm.
I called, was going to go pick him up. I was like, hey man, it's like one something, I'm gonna be a little late. I picked him up from the airport. Tony called back. He was like, hey man, you sick? You don't sound good? Don't even bring your ass in. I said, cool. You ain't got so
Right.
yeah, man.
What is this? Zayla Maru says, "Sup, fellas? Not far from
Huh?
you on a family trip to Myrtle Beach."
Okay.
Zayla Maru, welcome to South Carolina. I don't know exactly where you are normally, but Myrtle Beach can be fun,
So what?
especially if you go during the off hours. Have you gone to Broadway at the beach? Just curious. Myrtle Beach is a nice trip. I like to do that at least once a year myself.
Ooh.
Myrtle Beach was about 2 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Columbia.
I have
I'm
not been
good.
to Myrtle Beach in years, man, to be honest with
Really?
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need
I
to
feel
go
like
like
you
when
and
the
Katie
boys.
might take the boys.
So we went to Charleston a couple of years back, right before we had him, right
Hmm.
before we had Evan. And it was a nice trip. And we haven't been back. And we want to go. We need to go back. We haven't taken them to a beach yet. So maybe this year
Okay.
will be the year.
Cool, cool. So yeah, so in the chat, haven't been there yet, just got in today. Okay, cool. Yeah, let us know how it is in the next stream, which
Yeah,
hopefully we will do next week, Saturday around the same
that's the
time.
goal.
That's the goal. You know how it is. But the chat who have followed us for a while, let us know. How did you guys enjoy the recorded streams? We figured giving you guys something was better than nothing. Just let us know in the chat if that was something you liked or not.
Yeah.
Just curious. So tonight we got a few topics.
Yep.
One of the ones I want to talk about was trailer betrayals, or Leroy and I want to talk about was trailer betrayals. This came out sometime in December
Yeah.
about, actually I have an article. This is from Polygon, who was reporting from
Oh.
Variety.
See, so I have the Variety article up.
Oh, go ahead. You can read the Variety, read the source.
Oh, so basically what we want to talk about is here's the title of the article from Gene Mattis. Honor de Armas fans lawsuit puts studio at risk over deceptive trailers. And basically some people got in a tizzy. They went to go see the film yesterday, and they felt like the trailer had pushed this narrative that Ana de Armas was a love interest in the movie and she was going to be a big part of the movie. Well, when the movie came out, didn't happen. She went in the movie, they cut her out of the movie. And a lot of people got upset. Ana de Armas is a rising star. She has been in. She was the lead in Knives Out, Gray Man. Uh, what else? She was in the
She's
last
a
James
bunch of stuff. She was in the Marilyn Monroe documentary on Netflix.
Bond. Yes. So
Yeah.
she's up and coming, and a lot of people had wanted to see her in this, and they sued. And Universal tried to. Here's it is. Movie studios can be sued under false advertising laws if they release deceptive movie trailers. A federal judge ruled on Tuesday. U.S. District Judge Stephen Wilson issued a ruling in the case involving yesterday the 2019 film about a world without the Beatles. Two Ana de Armas fans filed a lawsuit in January alleging that they had rented the movie after seeing Ana de Armas in the trailer, only to discover she was cut out of the final film. Um, so it raises an interesting question. Universal was like, hey, this isn't the first time this has been done. They cited Jurassic Park, which had tons of footage that wasn't in the final movie. And the plaintiffs argued there's a difference between putting footage in a trailer and then going back and doing reshoots versus putting a trailer out after you've cut out an entire part of the movie.
Right. So it seems like their argument was the movie studio already knew that Ana de Armas wasn't going to be in it when they made the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or you should have recut the trailer without her in it once you knew you cut her from the film. So basically what they were arguing is, and I can right here, Universal sought to throw out the lawsuit, arguing the movie trailers are entitled to broad protection under the First Amendment. The studio's lawyers argued that a trailer is an artistic, expressive work that tells a 3-minute story conveying the theme of the movie and should thus be considered non-commercial speech. But Wilson rejected that argument, finding that a trailer is commercial speech and is subject to the California false advertising law and the state's unfair competition law. Universal is correct that trailers involve some creativity and editorial discretion, but this creativity does not outweigh the commercial nature of a trailer, Wilson wrote. At its core, a trailer is an advertisement designed to sell a movie by providing consumers with a preview of the movie.
Sure.
So that raises us our interest. Who else has made deceptive trailers, and how does this change trailers going forward? Because now you can't just release a trailer deceptively, trying to
Sure.
trick your audience.
And
Go ahead.
and who is a big enough studio that they may not even care? Because you can do it. I mean, it's not like you can't do it. You can do it. Now there's just a legal recourse.
There's a penalty for it.
Right. What is this? Azure Dragon 1793 brings up Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I think, are looking at Marvel movies as like being culprits of this, and I can understand because they do have stuff in there that isn't necessarily in the movie. But at the same time, it's hard, right? Because you want the trailer to be representative of the movie. At the same time, there are certain points they don't want to spoil in the trailer, so maybe they cut around stuff. And I think I'm okay with that in Marvel's thing because I feel like it keeps the integrity of the movie intact.
So here's the thing that I will say, and Little Dak one. So I didn't see Slender Man, but Morbius is another one. So here's where I disagree with Marvel to a certain extent. Marvel's being deceptive to basically stop spoilers. Like Marvel has admitted we cut trailers deceptively so that you don't know how this movie is going to turn out because they Marvel has had a huge problem of spoilers, toys being released. If you remember, a Funko Pop with Ant Man spoiled the fact that Ant Man grew um,
Hmm.
huge. Um, that was a big plot point that was spoiled. Marvel's admitted that, and Marvel's probably one of the companies that you're talking about that cut things deceptively. And we mean cut things deceptively, mean you had an entire part storyline in this movie that did not happen. You cut it and you knew you cut it. So that's where I think the difference may come in. Whereas Marvel is saying it's almost like a gimmick. You know that this movie may not be entirely the way the trailer's intending it because we're trying to help keep spoilers. Yesterday in Universal cut her entire storyline out because test audiences said we didn't think that those two people could end up together and it took away from another love interest, which I mean, I've seen the trailer for the movie. I call into question whether this man could pull Arda de Armas too, but that's just me. She seemed out of his league.
You sound
Um,
like a hater.
and this I could be a hater. I think she's
You
better than him.
sound like a hater.
I think she's better than him. I'm just saying.
You and everybody in that audience, that test screen audience, haters. That's fine.
I just,
Um,
but
Ken from Chicago says, "Don't make merch deals or have penalty clauses if toy makers spoil scenes."
now
Interesting idea.
the Ken from Chicago. That's something that studios are now having to reevaluate. Disney actually, if you remember, Disney actually made a separate deal with toy makers and didn't make deals for the Mandalorian for that very purpose. John Favreau's on record saying, when we did the Mandalorian, the first couple episodes, we didn't sign any toy deals because we wanted to keep Grogu a secret. Um, Movie studios and executives, this is something that they're going to have to figure out in this
How much is
new
that money worth to them versus
uh-huh
the
because
integrity of a spoiler? Yeah.
John Favreau said we're going to make money on the back end if we don't spoil this.
Hmm.
And they did. They're making money hand over fist. Remember, it was Baby Groot who was the it thing at the end of Guardians,
Hmm.
and then Grogu showed up, and Baby Groot who?
Yeah, indeed. Um, what was there when we were talking about this earlier, and we were like, "Oh, this is a topic we want to discuss." There
Mhm.
was somebody you wanted to bring the task. Who was it? What movie did you want to bring the task based on trailers?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Okay.
Because so here so and I want to get back to Breck Warren's comment. Can documentaries be sued? I watched the documentary, then watched the trailer afterwards and saw they cut footage from the final product. So this is and Breck Warren brings up a very good point. How do we define what is deceptive? Like if you're trying to protect a spoiler from the movie, is that different what Marvel's doing versus what Universal did, or what Warner Brothers did with Suicide Squad and what Disney and Star Wars did with Rogue One? Remember Rogue One, the first teaser that came out, we saw none of that.
Yeah.
Remember, we saw Jen Urso in a TIE fighter outfit. We saw them running with Imperials. We saw none of that. If you remember Saw Gerrera, that whole monologue, what will they do when they catch you? That whole thing was scrapped. They recut that movie and it was a totally different movie. But the trailers that subsequently came out was closer to the movie than what we saw than versus that first teaser. Now, Suicide Squad was cut by a different company. And then once they saw the trailer for the movie, they allowed Warner Brothers then gave the go ahead instead of letting David Ayer cut the movie and his team. They let the company that they hired to cut the trailer to cut the movie. And I think that is what they're looking at, going to be looking at versus maybe some of these other things that we've seen in the past.
The one I thought you were going to bring up was Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes, I forgot about that. I would have sued for Hobbs and Shaw.
And what would have been your thing for Hobbs and Shaw? Because Hobbs and Shaw, that trailer, that wasn't deceptive at all. It told you exactly what was going to be
You're
in the
right,
movie.
but here's what Stephen Wilson said, the district court judge in California. Universal is correct that trailers involve some creativity and editorial discretion, but this creativity does not outweigh the commercial nature of a trailer. At its core, a trailer is an advertisement designed to sell a movie by providing consumers with a preview of the movie. That trailer was the movie.
I mean, technically it wasn't because it wasn't 2 hours and whatever. It was only three
But
minutes.
it literally was the movie. Like if you so put it like this, if you put that trailer as the last time on Hobbs and Shaw,
Hmm.
that's the movie. And like if the Hobbs and Shaw 2 actually comes out and The Rock and Jason Statham sign up for part two and they do part two, just play the first trailer as the what happened last time.
Sure.
That's the movie. And it wasn't deceptive, but a movie's supposed to entice you. And
Yeah,
Kim
Camp from
from Chicago,
Chicago was Hobbs and trailer deceptive.
was it deceptive? And I would say no. But here's the thing: based on this ruling, you can't give away the whole movie. And I
That's not
think
what that
that's
ruling says.
it,
That's not
it,
what that ruling says.
no, it's not what it says. But what is the it says? It's designed to sell a movie by providing consumers with a preview,
Sure,
not
but
give
that's
the
not
whole movie.
legally binding. It doesn't say it can't give the whole movie away.
It does say that because it specifically says a preview. It doesn't. So we need the whole. We need
Yeah,
the
but
whole.
if he wanted a legal argument in there, I would have. He could have been harder in saying that the movie can't give everything away.
But hold on. So Universal also argued that classifying trailers as commercial speech could open the door to a parade of lawsuits from dissatisfied filmgoers who could make a subjective claim that a film did not live up to the expectations created by the trailer. Under plaintiff's reasoning, a trailer would be stripped of its full First Amendment protection and subject to burdensome litigation anytime a viewer claimed to be disappointed with whether or how much of any of the person or scene they saw in the trailer was in the final film. Wilson sought to address that concern, saying the false advertising law applies only when a significant portion of reasonable consumers could be misled.
You weren't misled by that trailer, not by Hobbs and Shaw.
I,
I think your argument is you would need a different lawsuit. I don't think it would work under this because that was exactly what you got. Now you could
true.
argue
I
maybe
give you
maybe
that.
I shouldn't have spent that money because I already got it in the trailer. That might be a different lawsuit. I don't know if you could.
Okay.
I think this would open the door for you, and then you would need another lawsuit on top of that.
I walked through that door. If I had the money,
Yes. Okay.
if Katie wanted to stay home, the boys had money put away for college, I'd walk through that
Yeah.
door. I would have my
Fair
lawyer
enough.
be like, drop that draft. I would,
Fair
I
enough.
would, I would sue Jason Statham, The Rock. I would sue Idris Elba.
Hey. The Rock got enough on his plate right now. Okay.
Nah, man, he
The Rock.
deserves
The Rock is
everything
hurt.
coming to him.
Leave the Brahma Bull alone. He's
He
hurting right now.
he
Him
deserves
and
everything coming his way.
him and $7 Productions is hurt.
He deserves
Ken from
everything coming
Chicago
his
brings
way.
up another point. If you don't want to be spoiled, then don't watch trailer.
True,
That's a
but
that's a that's a point.
here's the thing, though. Trailers and so here's the thing where I understand part of that, but sometimes you need to like a
Oh,
trailer is
Breck
supposed to give
Warren,
you a
yes.
tone.
Clerks animated, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
A trailer gives you a tone. I feel like a trailer's job is to sell you on the movie, not to sell and not to show the entire movie. Um, I would I a lot of times once I see something and I'm like I'm going to see that, I don't watch anything else. I
Sure.
actually when I was on Twitter, I muted words that were surrounded that thing. I stayed off social media when it came time. Um, so I understand that logic. The problem is I think studios don't think enough of us as moviegoers, and so that they're always trying to trick us into the theater. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if your movie's good, you ain't got to trick us.
Sure.
If your movie's good, cut one trailer. You know, all these final trailers don't give out plot points, and a lot of times these final trailers do give out like spoil entire movies. I don't
I
watch them.
think yeah, I think there's definitely another argument to be had whether or not it would be one in court, but that would be another case for somebody to be like, hey, a lot of these trailers actually spoil the movie, and that should be something we consider too, probably in a different type of lawsuit. Um, what was it? Herbert Thornton, Happy New Year, fellas. Forgive me my CP time. Hey, man, we're all running on CP time. It is what it is.
I
I
stay
mean,
on
you
CP
could
time.
you could argue press play's been on CP time for years. You know,
We
it's
might as
fine.
well just call it CP time.
Ooh, we may need to discuss that and see if we can get that registered. That's a pretty good one. I like that. That's
I
pretty
mean, we
good.
might as well just call us CP time.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
then I think this lawsuit is interesting, and I want to know what happens next. So this opens the door for people to be sued, but still nobody has been sued. So I
no.
wonder if these plaintiffs are going to go forward and actually sue the company, or if they're going to cut some type of deal for uh, Universal. Be like, you know what, we don't want to deal with a lawsuit. Let's go ahead and give y'all some money, and y'all can shut up and move on.
Well, see, here's the thing. I do believe that Universal's right, and Breck Warren brings up a good point. They did an episode like that about disappointed fanboys on an episode of Clerks. Randall wanted his money back for films he didn't like. I think that is a very good argument to make, that because fans fans is short for fanatics, and we live in an age where fans can be toxic. You look at some fandoms, the people who cheered for the Snyder Cut, Star Wars fandom. There's some toxic individuals in these fandoms that, if they have a little bit of free time and they ain't got no responsibilities, they would sue, because I guarantee you some of these people would have sued for the Last Jedi.
Yeah, probably,
I mean, if
probably.
I'm actually shocked it took yesterday for this lawsuit to happen, because if there was a movie that people would have sued over, The Last Jedi would have been in court for
Yeah,
years.
yeah. Have you seen Glass Onion yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Do you feel like Ryan Johnson was saying something against like big tech companies and
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that in the
but
same way he was with
he's not
Knives
but
Out?
he's not but think about it, he's not the only one. Jurassic Park has been telling us that billionaires and tech bros are trash for
Sure,
the last 30 years. How
sure.
long has Jurassic Park been on? Has it been 30 years yet, or is it 20?
It's probably been 30, I think, for that one.
But yet, think about it. Every single one of these Jurassic Park movies talks about the fact that technology in the hands of humans is a bad idea.
Hmm.
And I think Ryan Johnson did a very good job. He's the most recent person to do a very good job of it. But think about it. All of these movies we talk about with these tech bros, Tomorrow Never Dies. When
What a movie.
just think about it. Like,
Yeah,
did that was that not a prophecy?
sure,
Like, when you think about when James Bond goes up against some of these people, is he not fighting literally, disassociated Musk fanboys who have decided they want to reshape Peter Thiel, they want to reshape the world in their image?
sure.
Um, so I'm
Terry
surprised.
Hatcher, yeah.
Yep,
Can Terry Hatcher, Michelle Yeoh, yeah, or Yao, yeah.
yep. And uh, who was the woman at the beginning? Who dies at the beginning of that movie? Because there's a woman who dies at the. Is it Terry Hatcher who
Uh,
dies?
yeah,
Terry
Terry
Hatcher
Hatcher
dies
dies
in
in the
that,
movie.
and then Michelle Yeoh.
Yes,
You're right. Thank you, Jonathan Price. Jonathan Price. You're right, because he
yeah,
plays the Sparrow, and then he's also the president and slash Zartan in those terrible GI Joe movies.
yeah. Some fun times. I got a side question. Ken from Chicago and Breck Warren. Do either of you watch South Side on HBO? Just curious. And what do you think of it?
Some
I
people
love it.
do
I'm just
watch it
curious for people who.
because when we
Oh,
when
I
we
think
did
it's
the
fantastic.
when we talked about it, I believe some people actually chimed in and said that they watch it. DG7K, glad to have you. Um, anybody new? Facts. I always wondered if anyone had ever seen that before. Like in Glass Honey, a lot of reviewers are talking about how goofy the movie was, not looking at the picture. DG, you bring up a good point, and Ryan Johnson has always been subversive in a way. I personally like The Last Jedi. I personally like The Last Jedi. I think there are certain parts of Last Jedi I could have done without. The whole casino scene could have done without. However, I love The Last Jedi. I have a Steelbook edition. I think it has one of the best lightsaber battles of all the Star Wars movies. The throne room scene. I do believe that it was disconnected from the movies that they were trying to tell. And I do
Can
believe
you
that,
imagine if they had made 7, 8, and 9 and it was under one director?
yeah,
Man,
yep, I can imagine.
what a
I
what a
honestly,
what a concept.
and here's another thing, and a lot of people, and I, as much as I like The Last Jedi, I can appreciate why people don't, because You were waiting for these characters. You were waiting for Luke to become the one. And the next time you see him after Return of the Jedi, he chucks the books.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
Like if I was a fan and I didn't see what Ryan Johnson was trying to do, I'd have been pissed. So I
Sure.
understand that. So I understand the fan service that we got in the Mandalorian. I understand both sides of it. But
Yeah, he understands it too.
he's over there just having a ball, just laughing and smiling. Um, so yeah, I definitely get that. Um, so Bank 757, go back and watch it and pay attention. I get what Ryan Johnson was trying to do. He's very subversive and he basically trying to say, if you go back and watch what he was trying to do in The Last Jedi, it makes the prequels more understandable. Because when Ryan Johnson is saying, let the past die,
You say
I
River
say
Banks.
that, I say that. I'm not paying him attention.
That's funny.
But
So okay, we talked about trailer betrayals. Anything else you want to talk about for trailers and move on to the next thing? Let me know.
I guess my question to everybody else is, who do you feel is deceptive? Like, have you watched a movie and you felt cheated? Like, if you watched the movie, because we've all watched a movie and we're like, oh, that's not the movie they promised me. And I'm not saying a movie can't have twist. I'm saying you watched a movie and you were like, that's not what they like that's not the movie they cut. That's not what they promised. And I think that's what we're getting at. Like, you're trying to
I
sell
don't
me
have a great
something.
memory from a. Go ahead.
No, I'm just that's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna say I don't have a great memory on stuff, which I should probably look at it. Maybe that's a precursor for some type of something. I don't know. We'll
Hmm.
find out in years. But
Ooh,
anyway,
Azor
um,
Dragon
I can't
1979.
remember.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of a trailer. I'm like, oh, because sometimes I'll see a trailer because I'm never mad at a trailer that I think is better than a movie because, like you said, a
Hmm.
trailer is designed to entice you. So I
Yep.
can't personally, I can't expect them all movies to necessarily live up to a trailer because the trailer you see it in 3 minutes. It's a short amount of time. Okay, I'm hyped. So maybe the movie isn't as good, but I don't know if I
Hmm.
can think of anything where I'm like, oh, this movie was completely different from the trailer. Not saying it hasn't happened. I just can't think of it.
So I've a lot of times once I see a movie trailer, once I like it, I stop because I want it to be spoiled. I want to experience and have that movie going experience. When I sit down and watch it, I want to laugh. I don't want too much information because I want that. I understand what people talk about. I want to watch a movie with other people, have that communal experience. Now, COVID changed some of that where you're like, hey, there are too many people in this movie theater. But I
Sure.
do, I do love that feeling of something new. Like I will say, I can tell you what some of the best movie going experiences were for me. Heat. I saw that in the movie theater. Blew my
And how
mind.
how old are you?
We're not gonna talk about that. That's not this kind of.
Okay.
This is not the kind of discussion. Anyway,
Okay.
Heat
Just checking.
7. I never saw a trailer for 7.
Hmm.
I was in the Navy. A, I had just got out of basic, and um, a lot of guys were coming back, and they were like, "Yo, have you seen 7?" Had no idea what it was. They were like, "Brad Pitt's in it. Go see it." They would like, just go see it. Don't watch a trailer. And I had no idea what the movie was about. I
Hmm.
sat like I just knew it was about two cops chasing a dude. And honestly, I didn't even know that. I went down, sat down. I was sitting in the movie. Like, there are two movies that I have sat in the movie theater and I've watched the credits, not because I thought there was an end credit scene, but just because I couldn't get past what I just saw.
Okay.
7 and The Fountain from Darren Aronofsky. I literally sat down after The Fountain and was like, I might have seen the greatest love story I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
Um, but like, movie going experience, Ambulance was fun for me. Like, I
Yeah,
didn't
it
like
was.
it was just
You in that
stupid,
movie?
mind-blowing fun. Top Gun Maverick was one of my favorite
Whew.
experiences in a theater, and I didn't even see it the way you saw it.
Yeah, I saw Top Gun in 4D. Man. That is, yeah, fantastic.
And you got to see it with the sex chair that skeeted on you and and loved on you. I mean, I didn't even get that
Press
experience.
play after dark. All right, fair enough.
I mean, it's after 10 o'clock. They knew what they signed up for.
Okay, sure.
Breck Warren, The Matrix. Everybody was like, "Remember that trailer? What is The Matrix?" And then you went and saw it, and you were like, "Oh, you just effed my A."
Sure. Somebody wrote, let's see. Somebody wrote, what was it? Oh, Breck Warren says, maybe not the trailer, but when I hear stuff like Cardi B was the star of Fast 10 and she's only in it for a few seconds.
Mhm.
Breck Warren, I want to know who told you that Cardi B was the star of that movie? Because they lied to you. Like, if I heard them, like, there's no way Cardi B is the star of
In
something.
his defense, they were hyping her appearance in that movie because remember because Fast does a very good job of making you of sucking the oxygen out of the room when they announce someone's going to be in the movie. Remember when Jason Momoa was is for Fast 10 and nothing else existed but Jason Momoa was going to be in Fast 10.
Yeah, but in my mind, I feel like, all right, that's cool. I don't know. Did they say he's the main villain yet or just a villain?
Yes, he's the main villain.
Okay.
Well,
That's
he's the
that's
puppet
fine.
villain
Under
behind
Charlize Theron.
yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
But Brecker's white. When the
The
media
media
when
does that. Okay.
the because like remember when spoiler alert when She-Hulk and they said Megan Thee Stallion was gonna be in She-Hulk. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, Megan Thee Stallion's gonna be in She-Hulk. And then we saw it, they were like, I could have used more Megan Thee Stallion than She-Hulk. That's just me.
And sometimes I feel like that sucks because that may not necessarily come from the people who are creating the content, but it does come from media. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know that I ever heard Disney, because I don't even know if Disney ever said Megan Thee Stallion was going to be in it. They just, people kept
We just
talking
know
about
that
it, and
she was
Disney
in it.
never really clarified it. Yeah, Disney never clarified that. Oh, she's in it for
Hmm.
exactly this amount of time. I don't know.
I mean,
That can kind of
personally,
suck.
I would love for there to be a Marvel Legend Megan Thee Stallion figure. So
Okay, comic book nerd here. Are there any real people that are in Marvel universe that have a character? Is that a thing?
no,
That'd be
that like
interesting
have their
because you
own
could do
like
like what
action
you could
figure,
do.
like
Yeah, because you could do like Barack Obama, right? Because isn't he in
mhm.
Spider-Man comics
He's on this
or
cover
something
of
like that?
Spider-Man.
Megan,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
I'm actually shocked there are not more real people with figures. Like with Funko Pops, you have all your musicians,
Oh,
your
sure.
athletes. There some people are get their own action figures. I've seen like the 3 inch quarter or 3 inch scale. Some musicians. Eventually, I think some people. But if I was Megan Thee Stallion, I'd make a very articulate, articulated action figure, and I'd sell that for a profit. I would too. Beyonce. Katie says she could make a bobblehead instead of bobblehead. It would sell. I mean,
It
I'm
would
gonna be honest with
sell.
you. If I was a woman as attractive as Megan Thee Stallion, y'all would get tired of seeing my products on the shelf. I'm telling you right now. I would sell body glitter. I would sell nails, hair. Y'all would get tired of seeing me. I would. Because I'm telling you right now, if this channel ever blows up and they're like, Leroy, take your shirt off, I'm gonna have the cash app right there, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, man, put that money in that jar. These kids got to go to college."
Kids got to go to college. Fantastic. All right. So, trailer. What was it? What was the other topic you wanted to talk about?
So, what are you looking forward to? We're starting a new year. This is the first week of the year. Um,
Hmm.
we want to start. We
We
want,
want
we
to talk
want to go
about like real stuff or fun stuff or what?
fun
Just
stuff.
anything?
Like we want to talk about positivity. So
Because I got
last
some
year,
stuff I could talk about from news that I want to look forward to.
no, no, no. We're not
No?
talking about
Okay.
news. Nope, nope,
Okay. Just
nope,
checking.
nope. Because I've had my fill. I'm newsed out. Um,
Sure.
they turned the House of Representatives into the Source Awards last night.
They
I don't need
did.
that in my life.
You're right.
I don't.
You're right.
I need. We come here for
Hmm.
positivity, to give positivity into the world and receive it because shit happens. And so, what are you looking forward to? Give me 3 things you're looking forward to in the new year, 2023. What are some of the things you're looking forward to?
Hmm.
Zayla Maru said
Um.
PSVR 2.
And I told you about it. I got an email for that for the link, and I don't know if it's expired yet, but it gave me maybe to the end of January or something
Oh, don't
to.
worry,
But
you'll be able to buy it.
oh, you don't think it's going to be hard to get?
I don't think that's gonna be hard to get. I think in this
Interesting.
economy, I think $500 for a new hat
Yeah,
is, yeah,
it's a lot. It's
it's
a
a
lot.
lot,
You're right.
and it don't come
Yeah,
with a game.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Um, I got to
I'm
do
telling you
some
right
quick
now,
googling for a
my
second
wife
so I
ain't
can.
my wife ain't about to let me buy it. And I don't even want it, but I'm glad that I have somebody in my life who's like, you're not buying that shit.
Um,
But yeah, give me like we'll go back and forth. You give me one thing, I'll give you one thing I'm looking forward to in the new year. Um, I'm looking forward to us dealing with COVID better so that we can have these conventions and these movie experiences and get back to like enjoying each other's company because
mhm,
I have a big problem. My mental health is something that is very tenuous at times. I had a very hard time going to conventions and getting up the nerve to like be around that many people. And then I finally was able to go, and then getting that idea of going to concerts and doing those things. And then COVID happened. And then it was
mhm.
like, take your ass back inside. And then we got back to that self, that individual, isolated life. I'm looking forward to like San Diego Comic Con, E3 coming back, MegaCon, uh,
You
all
know
these
what? I want
different.
to piggyback on your thing for a second. I'll let you go,
Go
but
ahead.
I would look forward to E3 coming back and being relevant again
Mhm.
because it's coming back, but I wonder if it's going to be in a neutered state, and that kind of worries me because I, as much as I like Jeff Keighley and what he does for the game awards and game industry, there was something about E3 being in the middle of the year, being like a halfway point for like a video game Christmas of just all the major
Yes.
companies coming
Mhm.
together showing off their stuff. And Jeff Keighley is doing what he can with his Game Awards summer thing, Summer Game Awards,
Summer thing, and then he has the
but it's
Game Awards
not.
at the end of the year.
Yeah, but it's still not the same as E3. And I just hope that because E3 has tried to come back at least two different years, I think, so far, and it hasn't. I'm
Mhm.
hoping when it does come back, it'll probably never be as strong as it was because I think one of the issues with E3 has always been it's so expensive to go. Why would I pay all this money when I can host my own event close to it and you're still going to come to it?
Yes.
But I hope they come out with some kind of way of E3's here, we're back. Let's celebrate video games. Come out here, come for the culture, come enjoy these people, come enjoy these nerds. They're your
Mhm.
people, we're all your people. And I just hope it's a a good representation of video games for this summer.
I hope so too. I like personally that's what I'm looking forward to. I feel like Kim from Chicago said, take your shots, take your vax, take your boosters. I hope that we're not out of COVID. We're not out of the pandemic. I think we've transitioned to an epidemic. This
Oh, it's
COVID ain't
I think it's endemic now.
endemic. Okay.
Yeah.
So it ain't going anywhere. Hopefully we do a better job of dealing with it and we look out for one another. But I'm looking forward to like, so for us, from personal thing, Janet Jackson is one of my wife's favorite artists. Janet Jackson's coming to Columbia in
Unless
April.
you come to Columbia, right? Yeah.
Yep, she's coming to Columbia in April. I want my wife to be able to go see that and experience that. Like, I'm happy that people are able to go to concerts and do stuff, and and us as nerds, we're able to go back. And now I have one caveat: bring your deodorant
Sure.
and wash your ass, because I'm tired of that smell, that con smell, whenever we go to
The
these
con,
places.
yeah, the con smell is something. Did you try to get tickets for Chappelle and Rock going to
Nope,
Charleston?
nope,
Okay.
nope.
Because I heard those tickets were super expensive and they sold out
They
pretty quick.
are, they are, and I hope they do well. I'm their comedy as I've grown. They were two of my. Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Hmm.
I feel like Chris Rock's comedy, he has not grown and done a good job as evolving as a dad and as a black man as he should have. I feel like he's
Hmm.
as intelligent as that man is. I feel like he's concentrating. Same thing with Chappelle, on tired tropes. Where if
Hmm.
you go back and watch some of those bigger, blacker, better, I mean, the man was a prophet. Same thing with Dave
Hmm.
Chappelle. As they've gotten older, I think that they have not done a good job of elevating their comedy. And no one has been able to touch Carlin.
Hmm.
And that's sad because I love the comedy. So I did not buy those tickets.
Herbert Thornton, Mike and Leroy, you think G4 is coming back? I wanted to come
G4
back. I don't
G4 is
think
not
so.
coming back,
They
but I
keep
will
trying to
tell
bring Mick G4 thing. It's like what was it? Mean Girls, Stop Making
Yep.
Fetch a Thing. Or was that Clueless? Mean Girls
That's
or
Mean
Clueless?
Girls.
Mean Girls. Okay, Stop
Yeah,
Making Fetch a
Mean
Thing.
Girls.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Stop Making G4 a thing. I like G4. It's a place for
Here's the
us.
thing.
We you and I have talked about it, I think on this channel,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
we've had.
I just don't see. Leroy thinks it's possible. I don't
I
see how it is possible to make
I
G4 a thing.
I want I think a full time nerd network is possible. I think I think it's possible. I think a nerd encompassing all things comics, video games, tabletop gaming. I think a network is possible. I think just someone has to be able to bring these different entities together. And I think once that happens, whoever can tie it together, because a lot of people like it's one of those things where I was talking to Grace. You remember Grace, or you know who she is, right? The producer that
Yeah.
works.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry,
What a weird way to ask that question.
sorry.
Go ahead.
We were talking about the internet, and I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't always have the internet. Grace grew up with the internet. Like it's always been in her life. So for
Sure.
those of us who are old enough to remember, I remember the beginning of ESPN when they were playing tabletop tennis and they didn't have these huge lucrative NFL
When
deals.
ESPN the Ultra wasn't a joke, that's what they had. They
Uh-huh.
had those
Hmm.
off sports.
And so I think the nerd network could happen. I just don't know who's going to be able to put it all together in this new medium. Um, Not Anna Grace, but Breck Warren. I miss Anna Grace. She
AG,
was AG.
friend of the show, fam, love
Yeah,
AG.
yeah, but I think it's possible. I just don't know how someone could put it together. I'm not smart enough. I just know that if I've seen sports that were always secondary have now taken center stage and have basically taken over the world. Um, Nerds can do it too because if you look at how much money is in nerddom, like if
Hmm.
you look at how much money Elden Ring made, look at the deal that Microsoft is making for Activision. For that money, you could buy the NFL.
Sure. Well, wait. You think the NFL isn't worth $69 billion?
Not when each individual team is only worth four.
Hmm.
That's
Well, if you got 4 and 30, that's $120 billion, right?
what I'm saying. I don't like. I think
Yeah.
I think you could buy. I think Microsoft could buy the NFL if they wanted to.
Interesting. Somebody said something somewhere
The
about
geeks have inherited
anything.
the earth. We have won. That's what I'm trying to get Michael to understand. We have won. The
It's not
fact that
about winning. It's okay. Even if you won, great. Nobody has figured out how to regulate this to make
and
money.
that's what I'm talking about. Because think about it. My mother knows who Thor is. Like not the old school Thor. She knows who Chris Hemsworth is. Your
Is
mother
your
knows
mother is your mother spending, let's say, $15 a month on nerd stuff?
no, but this is the thing. She has grandkids that she'd be willing to spend $100 on.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. For the amount of money that people buy and spend on sporting tickets, jerseys, and stuff like that, parents and grandparents are spending that same amount of money on this nerd shit.
That's what I wanted to find. Banks 757 brought in IGN. I think
Hmm.
IGN is probably the closest to it because
Yeah,
they've been around
the
for
longest.
the longest and are probably, I'm pretty sure they're the biggest gaming
Yeah.
type journalism thing
Hmm.
in the business, I believe.
Yeah.
But even they are having problems. Their parent company had to lay off people at IGN. So I mean,
Hmm.
it's a it's hard trying to figure out exactly how do you make that business work for such a large. Because I think there's a business model for IGN, but how do you get bigger than IGN? Because I'm sure
Hmm.
IGN would love to be a 24-hour thing of not just articles, but a 24-hour network. I'm
Yeah.
sure Per Schneider and all those people would love to do that. It's just trying to figure out what that
Hey,
is.
friend of the show, IGN, bring us in. We'll figure it out for you.
Yeah, no, we won't.
Yeah, we
Don't
will.
make that promise.
Yeah, we
Okay.
will. Hey, hire us, and we'll spend our rest of our lives trying to figure it out. As long as you keep paying us.
Yeah, you keep paying us. I'll keep trying to figure it out. Fair enough. That I
Yeah.
can promise.
So
Yeah.
what so I said the community of getting back together and doing things together
Sure.
for you. What's one of the things that you're looking forward to?
So your goals were more. It seems like they may be more altruistic and more all encompassing. Mine were more specific because
Mhm.
I was going to
That's
name
fine.
movies and games.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I'm
um,
knowing I have a couple of those too, but that one.
Spider-Man 2.
Ooh, that's nice. I just finished Miles Morales.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good game. That was fun.
I'm not gonna lie.
Um,
Finn. I hated her the whole time, and then at the end, I was like, that bitch wasn't so bad.
yeah, yeah, Finn. She was a good character. I don't know who voiced her, but that was a good voice actress.
So you watched the latest Scream?
Hmm.
Her name is Sonia Jasmine. I'm butchering this girl's name,
Oh,
but
okay,
she's a twin in the new Scream with Jenna Ortega.
okay.
Um, um, Banks, what's spoiler alert for what?
Oh, yeah, we're not going to spoil anything for Miles
Yeah, I'm
Morales.
not
We're just
spoiling.
talking
No,
about
no, no.
characters.
But it's like
But
at
the
the
actress who voiced Finn, yeah, she was good.
she's a twin in the latest Scream,
Hmm.
and she takes over as remember the white dude who was like all the rules for scary movies.
Yeah,
She takes over that role in the Scream movie, and
cool.
she's in it with Jenna
Um,
Ortega and a couple other people. Let me get her name because I did like her.
yeah. So for me, yeah, Spider-Man 2. Seeing that first trailer at whenever Leroy got priors, I'm just being proactive. Fair enough. I won't fight that.
Neither
Um,
why.
yeah.
I know when I do some.
So the trailer, it was either for like the second or the first or second reveal of the PlayStation 5. I think there was a trailer talking
Mhm.
about games coming
Yep.
to PlayStation, and it was a short little second trailer. You saw Miles Morales, you saw Miles Morales, you saw Peter Parker,
You
and then you
saw
saw
Iron
Venom.
Spider too. You saw Iron
Yes,
Spider.
yes, you saw Venom. Um, we
Tony
still don't
Todd.
know. I don't know that we've seen actual gameplay from the actual game yet, just cinematic trailers.
We have
Based
not.
on Spider-Man and Miles Morales, I feel confident the gameplay is going to be there.
Yep.
The rumor is that it might be a two-player game. That maybe
Yes.
one person controls Peter Parker, one person controls Miles Morales, and maybe it's co-op. We don't know. That would be cool. And another rumor is, and again, I don't think it's a spoiler because these are rumors out there, but some people are thinking, oh, you're going to be able to control Spider Gwen.
I mean,
That Spider Gwen could be in the game somehow.
could be. The
Don't know.
woman's name is Jasmine Savoy Brown.
Okay.
Um, so I was not close at all. So I just wanted to get that out there. Jasmine Savoy Brown. Watch the new Scream, which is actually pretty good. She's in it. She's great in it. Um, yep.
So yeah, Spider-Man 2. I'm just
Tony
excited
Todd
for
as
that.
Venom.
Hopefully, yeah. And somebody brought in this just Jew living life.
Venom narrates the beginning of the trailer when he's like, "I'm looking for a challenge," and then we see the Spider-Man fighting, just busting heads, and then they see the darkness, and then Venom's in that hallway or the alley, and he's like, "We can," and that's Tony Todd's
Yeah.
voice, and that's amazing because
Bank 757. Didn't we hear the voice from Craven? I can't
yeah,
remember, but I
that
feel
is
like Craven is in the game.
that's what I was just saying. Venom, Craven narrates the beginning of the trailer.
Oh, you said Venom narrates the trailer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Craven.
Venom's at
Okay,
the end. Craven narrates.
that's what
And
it was.
yes,
Yes, I mean that's
Breckmore,
cool.
a new Scream is coming out.
Scream just
Uh,
won't die. Unlike the character,
um,
Scream won't die.
Courtney Cox, I'm giving you a heads up. Nev Campbell's not in the new one though.
Right.
They didn't get her money right, so she was like, "I'm out."
Yeah.
So run Nev
Um.
her money.
Yeah. So yeah, Spider-Man 2. What's your next one?
For me, Starfield. Um,
You
I
and Bethesda, huh? I mean, hey, you're
I
not the only one.
I'm
They have a success.
So on the Steam Deck, I have been playing No Man's Sky. I've really enjoyed No Man's Sky. I feel like it's the little game that could. I think they
Hmm.
did a good job. Um, I'm excited to see Bethesda. Because here's the thing: if Bethesda nails Starfield, Starfield could be the space Skyrim,
Hmm.
and that's ambitious. They said they're gonna have 1,000 worlds. You won't launch. You won't control the ship launching off planet or landing, but they have some lofty goals for this. And
Yeah.
Starfield, if it comes out this year, and if
I feel 90% confident it's going to come out this year.
hey man,
I think so. I think Microsoft and Uncle Phil are like, yo, we bought like 13 different studios and
yep,
y'all ain't produced nothing. So we need some titles. As
because
great as Game Pass
Redfall.
is, and I
Because
love Game
remember,
Pass,
Redfall
Sony,
and Redfall and Starfield was supposed to come out last year,
right,
and both of them
right,
got pushed to this year.
yeah. As great as Game Pass is, and I've been a champion of Game Pass from the beginning, it's it's still not as good, or it's still seen as not as good compared to Sony and their first party lineup.
Oh no, hell,
Like
they're not even.
I think Xbox has Sony beat with Game Pass, but Sony has Xbox beat with
I'll
first
tell you
party
right now,
titles.
first party lineup. If you had to rank them, Nintendo, Sony, Sony, and
Wow,
then Microsoft.
wow.
There's no. If you think about what Microsoft's first party titles are, Microsoft's first party titles are Halo, Gears, Forza,
Oh, they got more. You got Fable.
Halo, Gears, Forza.
I mean, you could say that, but I mean, it
I'm,
does exist.
what I'm saying is they exist. When was the last time you played a Fable game,
Playground is working on a Fable game, or is it Turn 7?
sir? That's not the
Someone is working on
question.
a Fable game.
That's not the question I asked you.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
you're
why I
right.
said I'm I'm looking forward to Starfield because I think if they can pull that off, because so I'm trying not to be negative.
Hmm.
That's my goal for 2023. I had a very hard end of 2022.
Hmm.
You brought something to my attention, and I was like, "Huh, I might need to make some changes. This might not be sustainable." Um, but I hope that Starfield is the game we all hope and dream it can be, because I think if it is, that brings in a whole new generation of gamers.
Hmm.
I think if you can pull that off, I think a very good space game can bring in a whole different generation of gamers who have this kind of like Mass Effect, how it changed gaming. And so like my wife knows what a Krogan is. This is like
Well, is that because she saw you play it, or because she played it?
she watched someone play it and played it herself. See what I'm
Okay,
saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like if you can pull that off, imagine what gaming can be, which gives it's almost like one of those things where if you can pull that off, imagine who you influence, and then imagine who comes behind you.
sure,
So
sure.
that's what I'm hoping. So what's another one for you?
Um, Somebody put something in the chat, and I was like, oh, it was interesting, and I was like, oh, I kind of would make that my second thing now that they said it. Let me see if I can find it again.
Call of Duty or Suicide
I
Squad?
don't care about Call of Duty.
Ouch. Call of Duty cares.
I mean,
Call of Duty cares about you.
it doesn't.
It does. It wants you to come back.
Ain't no way in the world it does.
So on the computer, for some reason, the scroll tab is not working. So I can't scroll back and see what people have been saying, and I don't know why.
I don't know. For me, another this looking at movies, Ant
Hmm.
Man.
Ooh,
Um,
so somebody did say that. Quantum
uh,
Mania.
yeah, for
So
a
that's what
couple of
I
reasons.
was trying to go back
We
to
will,
see who.
and you know what? Maybe this will be the next press play, like the future of MCU and the future of DC. You, I don't know if they're
Hmm.
together. We'll figure something out. But we had talked about a topic will be what does MCU
Hmm.
look like going forward after Phase 4. Whatever you say about Phase 4, I think everybody could agree it is probably the most divisive of all the
Oh
MCU
yeah.
phases,
Oh yeah.
for sure, whether you like it or hate it.
Hmm.
But Phase 5 is supposed to, hopefully, people think things are going to get right because we're going towards another end game type event, or at least we're
Hmm.
setting up stuff in place to finally pay off in Phase 6. So I've enjoyed all the Ant Man movies. I think they've been a nice side diversion. I think this is going to be interesting because Kang is going to be in it, and we know Kang is like an ultimate big bad for them coming down the line. So to me, this is kind of like the first Ant Man movie where a lot of the plot is really imperative for the rest of the phase.
Hmm.
Like I don't feel like the Ant Man one was great, but it wasn't necessary.
To
It
watch
was
the rest
necessary,
of it.
yeah, right. Like it set up Ant Man, and you got to
Hmm.
know him before Civil War, but it's not like it really did a lot of pushing forward.
Yeah.
Ant Man 2 also great. I enjoyed it. Maybe the end credit scene
Ooh,
kind of pushed stuff forward.
Ant
But
Man is one of Breck Warren's top 5 movies.
yeah,
That's
but Ant
good.
Man
Yeah.
3, I mean, we're dealing with Quantum Realm more. We're dealing with King the Conqueror. So I'm wondering what stuff is going to set up, looking at pushing stuff forward.
Well, somebody brought up a very good point. Whatever happens in Quantum Mania, Ant Man will be the lighthouse and the canary in the coal mine to
Hmm.
everyone else that's like, hey, this person's coming.
Hmm.
And so we're going to get him in other subsequent movies, or maybe people from that movie in subsequent movies.
Sure.
That's interesting. You said Ant Man because for me, mine is mine isn't Ant Man per se. Mine is Marvels,
Okay.
and for the same reason, because because I waffled back and forth between Guardians and Marvels. Guardians, I just know it's going to bring Guardians, not so much because I know it's the swan song. I know it's going to be good. Um, I know we always say in Feige we trust. I
Hmm.
think James Gunn has already proven that he knows how to tell a story. So I'm not worried about Guardians. Marvels is the one that I think will be the most interesting movie of the year for the simple fact that Captain Marvel was very divisive for a number of reasons. Um, Whenever women are introduced in this genre, people are like, a strong woman. You know, it's
Hmm.
people take offense to that. And it's like, and then you put in Brie Larson coming in, kicking ass and taking no names. Um, and so that was very divisive. Miss Marvel was one of my favorite Disney Plus properties. And then you have Maria Rambeau coming in from WandaVision. I think that the fact that you have all three of these women in this movie from different aspects, Kim Scarlett says Spectrum. I don't know what she's going to be called. I don't know if she's going to be called Spectrum, Photon, but the fact that you get all three in this movie and it's just called
Hmm.
Marvels, and how we ended with Kamala Khan's Disney Plus show, I'm really interested to see how this plays into the greater Marvel universe. Um, Personally, I loved all three of these characters. I
Hmm.
have none of their first appearances. If I'm gonna tell you right now, if you can afford them, get them now, because when that movie comes out, they're gonna just go up. I think Marvel has done a very good job with sequels. Those first initial origin movies, I think they flounder a lot of times. It's very hard to get those movies right. I
They're
think
trying to set
they've,
everything up and all that stuff.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I think once they find the footing for the character, if you look at most part twos, have been very good. Um, Captain America's sequel is the best one. Uh, I love Black Panther. I think Wakanda Forever is better than the first Black Panther. Um, I think uh, I, I I think that movie going forward is probably the one where everybody's going to be like, because if you look at, I say this with the caveat, if the special effects are done right,
Hmm.
because you've always talked about the special effects that, especially in Black Panther, eh, if they can get this right, this might be the best one of the year, in my opinion. So I'm really
Okay.
looking forward to Marvels.
Okay. So I need a third thing. What am I looking forward
hmm
to?
And
Hmm.
Herbert Thornton, you're right. That movie got an Ezra Miller problem. Warner Brothers has a very big problem because if you were going to shelve a movie, that might have been the one. However, I think James Gunn is going to use that movie, Flashpoint, to restart the entire DCU. So as much as I hate to say it, they may be using Ezra Miller. This may be his last chance. Mhm.
I think the last report I read is that they're interested in working with Ezra Miller again.
They are,
Yeah.
but that that's dependent on him not making headlines for anything
They.
other than being they making headlines for anything other than just being a movie star.
Sure.
And I liken Ezra Miller to Kyrie Irving. The Nets are on a run like nobody's business. Do you trust Kyrie Irving just to play basketball? To show up every day and play basketball? His track
Sure,
record says no. Ezra
sure.
Miller's track record says no. And we met Ezra Miller. He was very nice. I didn't realize he was that tall. Um,
Ezra Miller is tall.
he is tall. He
Yeah.
like he played piano for us. He was
Yes.
very nice.
Um, what was I gonna say?
You were looking for your third.
Yeah, I was trying to get away from movies and video games. I'm trying to think of just there's something I'm looking forward to overall in 2020. No, I'm gonna go with the video game. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. That's
Okay.
a game we've been waiting on since. Honestly, people have been waiting on the sequel probably since the first
Since the
re
first one.
thing came out,
Yeah.
since 2017's Legend of Zelda for Switch came out.
Hmm.
Um, and it's weird because this looks on paper, it seems like it's kind of like a Majora's Mask in that it's using some of the same assets from that first game. In Majora's Mask case, it would have been Ocarina of Time, but it's using some of those same assets to tell a different story. And now there's new gameplay with islands in the sky. And there's a rumor that you may or may not be able to play as Zelda. Who knows? Or you may play as Ganon. Who knows? But this is a game that has the potential to it's probably on a lot of people's game of the year contender list. It may
Oh
not
yeah.
win, but it's definitely on game of the year contender list for sure.
There are people
Uh,
already saying it's going to be game of the year.
yeah, I mean, if Starfield comes out, but it's not like great at launch, that that could open the door for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, for me, just Legends of. I think Nintendo they take forever with their games, but it's a quote that either Satoru Wadu said or Shigeru Miyamoto said. A bad game that comes out is delayed, or it can be bad, but a game that's delayed can continue to be good. Whatever it is, you know the quote.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I'm looking forward to. Legend of Zelda, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom.
Um, so for me, my third thing, looking forward to this year. Um, for me, it was getting back to doing concerts, that kind of stuff. Because I'm really looking forward to like maybe of definitely going. So there's a con in Charleston,
Hmm.
which might be interesting. I've never been. It's the Captain Expo or something. I met the guy when you were you with me when I met him when we went to that Greenville. Me, you, and James. We drove up there, and
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember meeting anybody
I
that was
talked
going
to a
to.
guy.
Well, maybe.
So I
Take
talked to
that
a
back.
guy that I found out he owns the Charleston comic book store that's putting on the expo or whatever. And anyway, so I said conventions. For me, it's Starfield because I've really been following that game. I'm really interested, and I love a space game. Uh, so for me, I'm gonna go because my bread and butter is comics. I'm glad we have the MCU, but I am an X Men fan through and through, and this is the 60th anniversary of the X Men. Some of the storylines that they have coming out is for Mr. Sinister has a storyline coming out.
Thank you, Banks, for
Since
getting that quote right. Go ahead.
um, they have a couple of different books coming out, but then they have at the end of the year, Fall of X. And if anybody hasn't been reading the X Men comics, Jonathan Hickman, who lives in Florence, like I'm kind of glad I haven't met him because I don't want to be a fan. I like Sins of Sinister. Thank you, Brick Warren. I get how people feel about Beyonce now because I feel that way about Jonathan Hickman. Um,
Hmm.
the MCU has basically been pulling all of his storylines, putting them on screen. What he has done with the X Men and with his Powers of X and House of X, Kim from Chicago, you're right. It literally it reminded people why the X Men were. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it ad nauseum. People are going to get tired of hearing me say it. Y'all do not understand. The Avengers were never the bread and butter of Marvel. It has always been Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and the House of X, X-Men, Charles Xavier. Those. mutants have always been the bread and butter of Marvel. And Hickman had set up with House of X, Powers of X, something we had never seen in the X-Men storytelling before. And Fall of X, this being the 60th anniversary, Fall of X, what are they cooking up to
Hmm.
the island of Krakoa? What are they cooking up? And I'm so excited for it because like I have every cover. I think I have every cover of House of X and Powers of X. I have the fourth or sixth printing. My wife let me get them framed and it's in our bedroom. There are two white covers. They're in a white border. I'll post a picture on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Um, I love that storyline. So for me, the X-Men and this being the 60th anniversary, they're doing so for toys. Hasbro is finally doing for those of you who are X-Men fans, X-Men issue 275, the gold and blue outfits. They're doing 2 3 packs with Banshee, Gambit, Psylocke, Storm, Forge, and Jubilee. They're doing 2 3 packs. And then Wolverine and will be a separate action figure. They're doing it big for the X-Men's anniversary. And I think this will be the year that we finally get casting for whatever
X-Men stuff.
X-Men, because so we're in phase 5. Phase 6 is coming. I think we're going to get casting for Fantastic Four. Everybody's going to go crazy for that. Don't care. It's going to be great. But for me, the X-Men have always been the thing. My family had a pact. When we had kids, we were going to name them all after X-Men characters. Two of my cousins got away with it, Logan and Xavier. We did not, because my wife taught kids who had those names. So we ended up with Evan and Owen. But let me tell you, I was trying to name a baby Cable. I've been trying to name a baby Gambit. I have names out the ass. My kids were going to be X-Men names. So yeah.
Fantastic. Uh, on that, we can wrap up. Um, what was it? Naming
just
people after
living
X-Men sounds cool.
just you living life. Yeah.
Yeah, because your wife got sense. Fantastic.
No comment.
Anyway, y'all, we've been going for about an hour and some change. We're gonna wrap this up. 2023 will be a great year for us. We got plans and big things
Yep.
in down the pipeline. Hopefully, that will work out. We'll let you know as they come along. But
Kim from
that'll
Chicago.
be it
I
for us.
still want a girl. So Aurora is not out of the picture yet.
There we
She
go.
caught a bad Scott. I can't have Scott. And I tried to fight
Okay.
Scott.
Okay. Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
I'm trying to think. Anything you want to say as we wrap up?
No, everybody, anybody watching, if you watch it for 5 seconds or 5 minutes, we appreciate it. Let us know. We're gonna do a better job of trying to turn this into a real thing in 2023. Let us know. No,
We'll
oh
see.
no, oh no, because I got to
Okay.
protect.
Leroy's got plans.
I got
Okay.
plans. I got to protect my sanity, and so
Okay.
this is where I gotta. So if you see something that you like, or see something that we did that you like, let us know. If you see something we didn't do, and you think we should do, let us know. Like I read the comments, I respond. You let us know what you want this channel to be, and help us make it a better channel. Because again, G4 ain't coming back, but we here.
We here. Yeah.
We here. We
We're the
trying.
same caliber of G4. Yep.
No,
That's
we're
right.
not.
That's what we
We
just
are
said.
not.
Okay.
But we
Fantastic.
here.
Oh, I asked a question at the beginning of the stream. Nobody answered. Let
Yeah,
us know. Did people answer the question?
yeah, Southside. Yeah.
No, no, no. That wasn't the question. The question
Oh,
was,
sorry.
did they like us putting up stuff on a big, like a
Oh yeah.
recorded thing? Nobody answered that. Let us know in the chat if y'all like that. We were just trying to give you content because we couldn't be live those weeks because we just had stuff going on.
Mm.
Um, Ken from Chicago, thanks. We appreciate that. Bros, come to Durham, North Carolina.
I got family in
Herbert,
Durham.
nothing's out of the question. We'll see. But yeah, let us know if you guys like us dropping those things as opposed to not doing anything for the week. We figured that was
Herbert,
something.
you need to check out Limited Games. They're in Monroe, North Carolina. Have you seen that company, Limited Games, where they will produce like indie
Can we
games?
post it like a podcast? That help. That's something we could probably look into.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm looking at all that.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It
It's
comes
tough.
in. It's tough. I got kids. I got a wife. I got a job. So
There we go. All right, y'all. Peace. We'll see y'all
peace.
next week, hopefully.
Happy New Year,
Probably
y'all.
around Happy New Year. Hopefully around 9:30. Y'all know how it is.
Yep.
We'll try and do that
Mhm.
next Saturday.
Yep.
And we out. Later.